Just want to address this for Kimmy Freak 200. She is my most vocal sub outside of Becky Boo. She always leaves interesting posts and comments. She's a true crimer for sure. She says, lately I've been noticing like thousands of comments online from people who think Darin committed this crime and that he was cleared too easy. Like, holy smokes. If I go on YouTube or Reddit or True Crime Post, it's just as bad as WM3 supporters saying Terry Hobbs is the real killer. How do the main supporters feel about these randos pointing the finger at Darin? Does Rich think Darin did it? Okay. See, what you're seeing is what they wanted you to see. And when Stephen Cooper took over the case back in, I think, in early 2000, or no, it might have been 1990. I think he's had it for quite a while. But he realized that there was some indifference with the way that the transcripts were put together, and by all right, because there were almost 3 pages, three mistakes per page, which added up to 33,000 errors. But they weren't big errors. I mean, they shouldn't have been any. But fortunately, they weren't errors that swayed what the jury was their decision. There was none like that. But granted, the supporters have a right. Like, they're going to put this woman to death, and there's mistakes in this transcript. But anyways, they got it together. Sandra Housey, she did end up losing her career as a court stenographer. I think she spent like a night in jail. She got into criminal charges. And so during that time, there was a 2-year period where it was up in the air whether or not she was going to get a new trial, right? And they really thought that she was going to get a new trial, and they would be able to present things a little bit differently. So they realized that the public defenders, Douglas Parks and his group, and Doug Mulder, they were prepared to try to present some kind of reasonable doubt because they didn't have a whole lot of evidence to help her defense at all. So they had to do some lawyering. They had to be a little bit, creative with your lawyering. So they wanted to cast suspicion on Darin Routier. They both sets of these attorneys wanted to implicate Darin in this crime. They didn't want to have him charged and convicted of it, but they wanted to say, what about him? So people, they're hoping to get that reasonable doubt on the second jury, right? Now, you just got to think, if the jury didn't study this whole thing very well, that affidavit of Darin Routier, what if the jury in 96 knew that he put that affidavit out? Well, what would happen is we'd have a prosecutor that would come back and say, we're not naming these people. When did this happen? What day? Did you ask anybody specifically? Did you set it up for 2:30 at night? They would bloat his, that affidavit that Darin wrote up about the insurance job was bullshit. They were hoping that they could get that second trial and present that affidavit. I think it may have raised an eyebrow with the jurors, but I think that a good prosecutor, good district attorney, will be able to look at the way that Darin wrote that up. He wrote that up in such a way that he can't be charged with slander. He's not mentioning anyone else's name. And to be quite honest with you, asking around for someone to break in your house is not a crime. There's no such thing as attempted burglary. Well, there might be in some states, but you know what I mean. There's no sense in attempted. No. How about this? There's no charge called attempted insurance scam. Attempted burglary, maybe. That's if you get caught while you're on the scene. But no. So he legally he could say that he could do that, and they even got Robbie Key, who was convicted of grand theft. Robbie Key has a conviction for grand theft, and he had it before the case. So they even got him involved in it. He suddenly remembered. You know, Darin asked me if I knew anyone that would break in the house. I mean, he suddenly remembered that, what, like 6 years later? Robbie Jean Key, which was Darlie Key's, like, second husband. No, third husband, actually. And so he suddenly remembered it. You know, even though that this big event happened where someone came inside of the house and killed these two babies and attacked Darlie, he didn't remember it back then. He didn't remember that. He couldn't. We just all of a sudden, I think he slipped and fell down. Bam. He remembered that Darin asked him if he knew anyone that would break in his house, and that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, Darin knows these people like Barry Fife and Glenn Mize and Beja, but he chose Robbie Key to ask, right? Or was it just that Robbie Key agreed to write an affidavit? Robbie Key also wrote an affidavit that was set up in such a way that he could not be charged with any type of perjury or whatever, because prove Darin didn't ask him that. Prove it. That was a slick move. So they were hoping that they could get back into court with these two affidavits and one from Charles Sanford too. Now remember, Charles Sanford, his affidavit came out about the same time. So they were going to present this as reasons to let Darlie out. It might have raised an eyebrow, but it wouldn't have went anywhere because they would have investigated it thoroughly. You know, Charles Sanford, if he says he didn't see those pictures that were of her bruising, they would have reminded him of the testimony about the bruising. Right? Even Dr. DeMayo's testimony about that bruising is damning to Darlie. And Dr. DeMayo was their witness. So it wouldn't have went anywhere. But the way that Kimmy feels, or she, you know, why is all these people looking at Darin? It's because they geared it that way years ago to draw suspicion off of Darlie. They geared it that way. They want you to think that Darin was shady. He's got to live with that. But he's willing to be that character for his wife because he has an undying love for Darlie Routier. And now he can't take it back. He can't come out and years later say, you know, we'd set this up, we did that. Because, you know, I don't know if there's a statute of limitation on complicity in murder. So that's what they want. They want to make Darin look shady. You know, you just go over to the last defense and look at Darin's interview there and read what he's saying to you. The body language, what he's saying. I did it for Darlie. He put this piece of paper in front of me, that affidavit he's talking about. He put this piece of paper in front of me, asked me to sign it, and I did it for Darlie. He's lightweight telling you that it was a bunch of bullshit. He did it for Darlie. He may have done other things for Darlie too, such as run that sock now outside. We don't know how that happened. The probability is that Darlie ran it outside. It came back quietly. It's very dark in that alley. There were a few dogs barking though when I was in it. So that's what they want you to think. What they did is they planted that seed years ago. They planted that seed about that insurance scam, and they wanted it to harvest, and it has in the minds of a lot of people. Darin had absolutely nothing to do with these murders. He didn't lead anyone there. He didn't do it. He wasn't drug dealing. You know, Rich seems to think, Kimmy, that Darin has led some shady people to the house. right? But if it was a revenge kill for money or something like that, it's not kids they go after. Not real drug dealers, not real criminal element. They don't go after kids because dad owes a debt. You got to remember in the movie Scarface, where they're going to do the hit on that guy who was in the press, talking about Tony Montana and talking about the guy, the Colombian drug lords. They were sitting in laying in wait to kill him, and they had it set up that they were going to kill him when he came out to his car. But he came out to his car with his wife and his two kids, and they were following him. And Tony said, "No fucking way, man. I don't kill no children. No fucking way, man." And the other guy was going, "Gee, we got to go. No, we do it. I'll get them right now." And they was going to blow the car up. Had a bomb. He was going to blow the car up. The other guy's trying to drive and set the thing. He's, "No, this is so fucking bad, man. No fucking kids." And then Tony took his gun out, and the other guy that was supposed to help him blow that car up, he said, "You fucking died." And he killed him. No kids. No kids. So they wanted to put it in there. And you know, they were really, that whole thing with the second trial that they were thinking they were going to, it just blew up in their fucking face. They want people to think that Darin is shady when he's not. He's not even close to shady. The only mistake he made was marry somebody that became psychotic, if even for just a night. So that's that on that. Be sure and subscribe and like these videos if you do like them. They planted that seed years ago, Kimmy Freak.